Let's continue with our election conversation now. Former President Jacob Zuma has lambasted the judiciary and labelled it as a captured system by the rich. Zuma was virtually addressing the prayer meeting to welcome him back after his release on medical parole while serving a 15-month jail term for contempt of court. All right, now we welcome, joining us now, we welcome from the, I beg your pardon, Ongama from the United Nations Development Programme in their partnership with the IEC, recognizing the importance of this sphere of government. Ongama, thank you so much for your time this afternoon and for joining us. Before we get into the upcoming elections and your work that you're doing with the IEC, perhaps your comments and your reaction following the former President Jacob Zuma's speech, again, lambasting the Constitutional Court.
Good evening, Munati. I'm still to catch up with that speech. Unfortunately, my focus has been the preparations for this session on elections. The stakeholders, the UNDP, as well as the IEC, believe on the importance of, an effective civic education program in order to ensure that we've got electorate that is, committed to the democratic processes and ensures that we get good quality politicians and political parties that represent them. So that's been my focus, unfortunately, in the past hour or so, and I haven't yet seen that speech.
All right, Ongama, let's start this again. Again, we're joined by Ongama Mtimka from the Nelson Mandela University. Apologies for that. I just lost my track of thought there for a moment. But let's get right into our interview. Of course, big focus, elections. We've got 17 days coming up. What's your assessment of the state of local government over the last few years? I mean, we've got 17 days to go. The electorate is obviously very nervous going into these elections. We know that these elections, local government elections, historically see very low turnouts. But what can we expect?
So as far as turnout is concerned, there are going to be challenges. We're in a pandemic environment. But I think that people should recognize how the state of affairs in local government is risen enough to turn out in droves on election day in order to cast their vote, choosing a political party or a representative for their ward that they think can best serve their interests. If you look at the state of collapse that we have seen in recent years, local government has lost a lot of capacity when it comes to, for example, delivering goods and services, as well as infrastructure and maintenance thereof. So both in terms of ability to spend capital budgets, as well as to maintain existing infrastructure, we have huge problems there. Not only that, municipal collection rates, when it comes to ensuring that municipalities have significant own revenues which they generate in order to drive their own programs. Those have been shrinking with collection rates declining. And I think it's a function of a number of things, discouragement on the part of citizens, but also municipal budget and treasury departments or revenue generation departments that are not up to scratch, where skills are not there. But in general, in terms of the overall areas in which local government hasn't been working for people, it's around the areas of being able to manage projects, whether it's infrastructure projects on the developmental local government front, where you find that municipalities are not playing a significant role in enabling development, among other things. So we hope that, and in fact also an unworkable political environment in which communities find themselves, where you find that there are debilitating political relationships at council that make council unworkable, unable to take decisions when it is needed, and therefore frustrating processes of budgeting and expenditure.
What do citizens do now, given that they're faced with a level of uncertainty as it relates to their loyal, parties that they need to support? Now we're seeing a remarkable increase in the number of independent candidates, contesting these elections. So the question obviously is what will or should be different this time around. Can citizens then entrust, these independent candidates come the 1st of November? How do they build credibility, given that there's so much that has been lost, following just recent developments in with poor state of finances, debilitating infrastructure, etc.?
Sure. So as a country moves from its democratization process into democratic consolidation, one of the things that have been observed is that voter behavior changes, and in former liberation or say in colonial countries, post-colonial countries, the pace of the change in voter behavior is significantly slow, because the former Liberation Party gets to be supported a lot by strong constituencies who feel indebted or who may actually have a nostalgic commitment to that party. But as population as demographics of voters change, that is associated with changing voter behavior. So the message from me and some of us as scholars is that voters need to think a lot more about what we call regime performance. How did those who were in power, from the ward councillor to the party that was in power in the municipality or the coalition, behave while they were in office? Did they meet the promises which they made to communities? And the thing is, with local government, this is easy because budgets are crafted with communities. Every year, the integrated development plan, as well as the budget and the service delivery and budget implementation framework of a municipality, are canvassed with the people. So people in every ward in municipalities know what are those things which they have wanted to be put in the budgets. If those things have not been delivered and you continue to vote for the same party, something gives the impression, that gives the impression that it's not only the politics that are not working, but also voters themselves and their choices. So it's important for voters to actually apply themselves in determining who to vote for and, in fact, exercise that right.
All right, thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Ongama Mtimka there of the Nelson Mandela University. Appreciate your time here with us.